Yamato sat on the floor of the community center, his back against the wall, scrolling through his phone while Hiroshi and Jun bickered over the set list. The glow of his screen lit up his face as he watched a clip of their performance from the festival. It had been uploaded by someone in the audience, and the views were climbing fast. Breakpoint is brilliant. The drummer's a beast. When's your next gig? Kai grinned, the comments filling him with a mix of pride and disbelief. It was hard to wrap his head around the fact that strangers were watching and loving their music. Breakpoint wasn't just a band anymore. They were starting to get noticed. Kai. Hiroshi's voice snapped him out of his thoughts. You with us, mate? Jun's trying to squeeze in that synth-heavy mess again. It's not a mess. Jun fired back, his arms crossed. It's experimental. Kai chuckled, pocketing his phone. Can we just stick with what we know works? Save the experiments for later? Hiroshi smirked. Told you. Jun rolled his eyes but waved a hand. Fine, fine. But we are doing it next time. The buzz around Breakpoint was growing. After the festival, their inbox had filled with offers for gigs, pubs, school events, even a backyard party. For Kai, it felt like they were finally breaking through. But with the newfound success came new challenges, and life started to feel like a balancing act. Kai's days became a blur of school, band practice, and gigs. He'd stay up late finishing assignments after rehearsals and rush from classes to make it to sound checks. His grades began to slide, and it wasn't long before his teachers noticed. Kai, can I have a word? His homeroom teacher, Mr. Dawson, called out after class one afternoon. Kai shuffled over, already bracing himself for the conversation. I've been looking at your recent work, Mr. Dawson said, leaning against his desk. You're capable of much better than this, but your effort's clearly slipping. What's going on? Kai hesitated, unsure how much to reveal. I've just been really busy, he said finally. Busy with what? Music, Kai admitted, scratching the back of his head. Mr. Dawson nodded slowly. Music's great, but you need to find balance. If you don't, it's going to catch up with you. Think about it. Kai nodded, the teacher's words adding to the weight already pressing down on him. At home, the tension was no easier. Marissa was thrilled about the band's success, but Akio remained unconvinced. You're spending too much time on this music, Akio said one evening as Kai grabbed his drumsticks before heading out. Your studies are suffering. I'm managing, Kai replied curtly, not meeting his father's eyes. Doesn't look like it, Akio said, his tone sharp. You need to sort out your priorities. Music isn't going to pay the bills. Kai clenched his fists, his temper flaring. Why can't you just be happy for me? I'm doing something I love, and people are noticing. Akio's expression softened slightly, but his voice remained stern. I just don't want you to throw away your future. Think about what's important. Kai didn't reply. He stormed out, his father's words swirling in his head as he made his way to practice. At the community center, tensions were running high among the band, too. The pace of their growing popularity was starting to take a toll. We need to focus on original songs, Hiroshi said, pacing the room. Covers are fine, but they are not going to get us anywhere. Yeah, but we can't rush it, Takeshi said, leaning against his bass amp. If we push out half-baked stuff, it's going to make us look bad. Exactly, Jun chimed in. We need more time to get it right. Kai sat at his drum kit, twirling a stick in one hand. Let's focus on the next gig first. We can figure out originals after. The others grumbled in agreement, but the tension lingered. The next gig was at a small pub, their first headlining spot. The venue was cozy, with a low ceiling and walls plastered with posters of local bands. The scent of beer and fried food hung heavy in the air. As the crowd filtered in, Kai felt the familiar buzz of nerves and excitement. By the time they stepped on stage, the room was packed, the audience buzzing with anticipation. The first song went off without a hitch. The crowd clapped and cheered, some even singing along to their covers. But halfway through the second song, Jun's keyboard cut out. Bloody thing, Jun muttered, crouching to check the cables. Hiroshi didn't miss a beat, launching into an impromptu guitar solo to cover the gap. Kai followed his lead, keeping the rhythm steady as Jun scrambled to fix the issue. By the time they wrapped up the song, the crowd was cheering, seemingly unaware of the hiccup. Backstage, the atmosphere was tense. That was a disaster, Jun said, slumping into a chair. It wasn't that bad, Hiroshi argued. The crowd loved it. They didn't come to watch us fumble, Jun shot back. Kai stepped in. Look, we handled it. Next time, we'll make sure everything's sorted beforehand. Jun sighed but nodded. Later that night, as Kai walked home under the glow of streetlights, he replayed the gig in his mind. The cheers of the crowd, the hiccup with the keyboard, and the lingering tension between bandmates. It was a mix of highs and lows that left him feeling exhilarated and drained. He thought about his father's words, his teacher's warning, and the pressure within the band. It felt like everything was pulling him in different directions, and he wasn't sure how long he could keep juggling it all. But then he remembered the energy of the crowd, the way the music had made him feel alive. That was what mattered. As Breakpoint's rise continues, the challenges of balancing school, family, and band life grow heavier. Kai must decide how far he's willing to push himself to keep the music alive.